Can I ask a question for Kinley, to you,
Yeah.
Kinley? And I just wanted to know about your working relationship. Like, how was it working together as mother and daughter? I just want to hear about it in specific. Like, was it surprising? Was it challenging? Was it super easy, for you both?
There was kind of years of training. Wasn't working together in a professional environment, but the act of going trading off, going through each other's sides.
Mm-hmm.
I think that gave idea, purely speaking on from my own account. um it prepared me for a very full and reassured working relationship, because when I was going out for auditions, she would always, and still does, if it should come up, directs me very well. I mean, she has worked far more than I have, and she just has a great understanding. And so and so when it came to the point that we were actually like shooting something together, it didn't really feel that different.
Right.
Do you
Yeah, it's all
feel do you
very
feel the same?
natural.
Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I do. Um, I knew what kind of an actor you were. Um, I knew that you were very natural, and I knew that's what the role demanded, was a
Mm.
natural performance that didn't seem acted in any way. And I had full confidence in you, so I was
Oh, thank you.
never worried about that. I was busy worrying that the crew wasn't shutting the front door. So really, you know me to know that that is who I am. Shooting in our house was, oh no, why? Why?
That was the hardest part.
Well,
Oh God Almighty, was it ever? And yeah, yeah. And then I started off, um, yeah, hi, could you shut the front door? Great, super, thanks. Yeah, I don't know if you heard me say those other guys. Can you shut the front door? Like when you're done, can you like shut it so it shuts? I've got the button pushed so it'll open. But if you could shut it, that would be so super
You
great.
explaining what shutting is over and over again also?
I know. Yeah, shut it, like shut it so it goes.
You're gonna actually shut it, so it's really, yeah.
And then I ended up with, were you born in a barn? Could you please close? No, that was my biggest stress. Kinley, I knew that she would do it. I also knew, in fairness to Paula, that that she would take care of anything that needed to be taken care of regards Kinley's performance, that she had her back, and that Kinley would learn from her. And I loved a thing that Paula said to Kinley. Um, if I may, Kinley was struggling. Can I talk about the one part you were struggling with?
oh, I mean, I'm looking ahead to future questions, and I was going to talk
Oh,
about it. So yeah.
oh, okay, then I'll leave it for you to talk about.
Oh, okay, but I think
But
you're remembering a piece of the story that I don't.
oh,
But
okay.
okay.
So Kinley, I had written at this point, she just breaks down in balls. That's what was in the script. And Kinley was having problems getting there. And we had said to her that we could use tears, because I had explained to her that they also help bring them, so that suddenly you're actually crying. It just spurs it. But it's that thing that the tears do for your sinuses, and now you're crying. And then I just found I didn't want to push it, and I could have, she would have done it for me, but I didn't want to push it, because I started to like that. I don't mean this to sound corny, but that moment where you misgendered her and called her her old name was deeper than tears, because I realized at that moment she would be so stunned that the person she idolized and loved the most, even though intellectually she knew why, was causing her incredible pain by saying, "Are you wearing a dress?" And then Paula said to Kinley, Kinley, this is not a happy ending. This moment that your papa has remembered who you are. This is a snapshot in time, because he may misgender you again tomorrow, which I thought was such a brilliant note, because in the end, when you, Eric, as Junior, are saying, and one of my favorite moments when you kiss her hand and say, I've loved you since the first moment I met you. And then you pause, okay, crying,
I know.
and say, Kay, killed me. And Kinley accepts it, physically, lovingly, goes into your embrace, looks at you, but she isn't, oh, good, because there's no reason to go, oh, good. She's registering the tender moment, and it's as if she's going, I must remember this, because it might be the last time he calls me Kay. So in a way, even though it was written by me, she breaks down crying. It wasn't as strong as the way it was played out, because we see the conflict in her. You're there, Eric, you're there. This is, I forgot, never do that again. That's truly from your perspective, but we see her knowing. So in a way, it was stronger. Does that make sense to everyone?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that.
But it's true, it's much stronger, because you couldn't, and you were choked up, which was all I wanted when you said, you couldn't help it, Papa. Choked up. And I realized that's all it needed. It didn't need you bawling your eyes out. And also, it may have confused Junior. No, sometimes there's happy accidents. I was just building that she's stunned, and then she's like upset, and then she's crying. In fact, in a way, it was a mediocre building of what a writer would do, and then goes to, it was a standard, I won't say mediocre, but it was a standard, builds
Sure.
crying. No, in the end, it did not work. And I said to Paula, are you upset that she isn't crying? Because then I would have moved in and enticed you to just put a couple in. And Paula said, no, I am loving exactly what's happening.
I loved
So
it.
just happy accidents.
It was beautiful. That's part of the thing that's exciting about being on set, as I'm sure we all feel. It's like you think of it one way, or you're practicing it. In my case, in the car, you're practicing your line. You're like, this is how it's going to maybe rock on the day.
Yeah.
And then there's all these other elements that come in, and whether it's like a crunch for time, like we didn't have a ton of time on this. Sometimes there's an urgency that can really affect something too. That was the last thing we shot, that last scene. And it was maybe going to be a oneer even. And I know the exact take we used is the one, the one you're speaking about that's in the movie. Oh man, I had to run to the bathroom. I'm sure you remember, Deb, I was weeping. You were both so beautiful. And actually, yeah, it was just so special to watch that unfold like that. And everybody was holding their breath at the monitor. And as we all know on set, that doesn't always happen, and you can edit things to feel a certain way. It didn't have to be touched. It was so connected. And actually, Scott, our amazing DP, who's a dear friend who operated also, he was like, we have a little extra time. We can also, we're favoring Kinley in this too. I'm gonna just pop over and get Eric for when he kisses her hand. I was like, yes, please do. Like that and
yeah,
he,
thank God.
And then it was like, oh, that magic, also being flexible. Flexibility is like maybe the superpower I would give, I would say to anybody creating, is like, just always be willing to change and move, because Scott really added to that, because he knew what I was hoping to convey, and he could see how dialed in you both were.
Yes.
And he gave me that bonus, and it totally strengthened
him
from that initial shot list. So oh my goodness, there's not a time. I always feel like, is it so self-indulgent to watch something you directed and cry? But I'm really crying at both of you. Every time we watch it, we're like, me and Deb are holding hands, like weeping. It's so freaking beautiful.
And it also reminds us as actors, acting 101, it's far more moving when you fight against crying.
Totally.
It's far more
Oh my
moving
gosh.
when you struggle to keep it in, unless there is a reason. There's panic, there's fear crying, but it's so much more when you hold it back.
Yeah.
I had no idea all this was going on. This is the most exciting. I wish I'd been there. Exciting.
Oh, no, because
No idea that all of this drama was happening in and around it, that people were actually.
You were,
Tears, debate.
yeah, you were off to the side giving an award-winning performance. You had your own
Well,
things to think about.
Well, it's interesting. It's really so interesting. It's a very interesting discussion too, in the sense that there's a kind of dramaturgy that there's a kind of what we expect. You know, as audiences now, we all expect. So, like tears. Let's just talk about tears, not crying. Tears are now a part of a kind of film language now.
Yeah.
That we have to see the tears or the one tear, and how actors do the one tear. That's what I want to know. I like, how do you let one tear
Because there
really
is
come down your cheek
tears.
while you say your lines? I'm going, what the hell is that? Anyways, so tears has become part of this, prescribed dramaturgy now. The person then cries, and I'm finding it so much interest. You want to go. I'm finding when somebody's crying now so much more interesting in a way, or it grabs my imagination more when I don't see any tears. Like, there isn't tears. Like, and so it's not about the tears. It's about acting in an authentic way, not about, and if you do cry, that's the way you authentically cry. But if you don't have tears, and I've used tears, like I'm a great one for going, well, if you want the stage effect, let's put the tears in. Because like Deb says, they do encourage you. And if you're doing 18 takes after a while, you cry about a thing after a while. So you go, I don't care anymore. I'm over that. A scab has formed over my emotions. I don't care anymore. Yeah, I don't care anymore. Just let's get on with it. I'm going to laugh on this next take. I'm not going to cry.
Right.
So, what I'm saying is, it's again to kind of go back to a genuine feeling, and the genuine feeling of not and worry that it will be expressed. That will take care of itself in a way.
Yeah.
As long as, as long as the camera's on, it doesn't have all the kind of technical, I'm sorry, the focus was wrong or whatever, let's do it. There's, of course, filming, there's always that there's that whole machine that you have to deal with, it has to be. And again, like having one of the bigger budget aspects means you can do more setups. That's what, you can have more camera angles. And that the more camera angles have, the more you have to edit with, the more raw material you have. So when you're shooting something like we were shooting on a very, very limited scale, whoa, that's I don't think people have to quite understand what a kind of precision that requires, that the risk you're taking, because you only have one take or two takes or one angle that you can use. So you can't go, oh, that one doesn't look, let's go to take 35 here and say, let's do the other camera angle we did here, because we had 3 cameras set up and we had cranes and things like, it just, the economy of it is, it's a real kind of discipline. And it requires great planning and people kind of knowing what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even especially when you're working with an old actor, because they can go off at any kind of. What's Eric doing behind the fridge again?
He's behind the fridge.
Yeah.
This is all great. We've gotten a little sidetracked. That's okay, because we're all very. So that is why, as performers, it's important for us to tell our own stories. So what's next for Juniors Giant? Any upcoming festivals? Any possibility for a feature film?
Ooh.
Paula and I are working on a feature called Headliner, and we're pretty hopeful that we can get funding for it. Paula's going to star in it and direct it. And so we're very, very excited about that. The script's been reamed over a million times, so we've got a nice tight weight. Junior's Giant, well, you explain that, Paula, about air AC and
Well, yeah, you know what, we don't know for
Oh
sure,
yeah.
but we're sort of near the end of its festival run, and we'd love to have it somewhere. We'd love to be able to announce something soon about where it can be seen more publicly. There are a few places to do that for shorts now. You know, it used to be that if you made a short, you kind of were sometimes only watching it in a shorts program at a festival, which is amazing, but you had to
Yeah.
be there and then maybe release it online later. And we may eventually release it on our own, but yeah, we'd love to explore some other options, you know, maybe through CBC or En route Canada. So we'd love to have more people see it for sure. Announcements to follow, hopefully. And
Yes, excellent.
script that Deb spoke about, Headliner, she and Barbara Decky wrote together, and it's so good. I read it years ago, and we did a reading together, Kinley, of it recently.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things I've ever read. It's
Yeah,
so
it's great. I'm really looking forward to it being produced. It definitely deserves to be. And actually, with the question of, in terms of Junior's Giant and the possibility of a feature film, it's funny, and I don't know if it's been mentioned earlier, but the idea was actually born of script that then got streamlined into a short. So I think that probably answers that question. Is that fair to say, Mom?
yes.
Yeah.
No, the script has all the details of his diagnosis, being diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Oh, you did talk about this earlier. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for those who are listening and don't know, it was specifically Lewy body dementia, which is a Parkinson's dementia, which was discovered by Dr. Lewy post-mortemly on Parkinson's patients who had developed dementia. And it was specifically these bodies around the brain stem that Parkinson's put there. And what's another interesting thing, which I had in the script, believe me, the mice, the little people, everybody was in the full script. But what's unique to Lewy body sufferers, for lack of a better word, is a guard dog, an imaginary guard dog.
Oh.
Most, over 90% of folks with Lewy body have a dog, and the dog comes when the person is feeling vulnerable or feeling unwell. And when Dad got back from the hospital after suffering sepsis, which was the beginning of the end, I was going to feed him every night because, as Eric did, he had the mime fork, but the food wasn't getting in him. And in the middle of the meal, he said, "Oh, my friend's back, my dog's back." And I remember thinking, oh God. And that was the second last day of his life. So
yeah,
all
isn't
those
that
things
fascinating?
were in the original script. But then I went, do we need to hear the details? And I might have been wrong. I don't think so. I don't think I'll ever regret that it was this little snapshot in time. I also, as a writer, it helped me with the brevity. It helped me to be able to edit and pick out the moments that I thought were, because Junior's Giant was the fourth film I've written and the only short.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. Do any of you have advice for performers just getting started in the industry?
I do.
Please.
I don't want to sound too much like a union girl, but read your stuff from ACTRA. It isn't just, the members, oh, they're too long, so we make them shorter. They're not long enough. So in the end, really, you put out the information you have to put, hope people read it. Know your craft. And by that, I don't just mean the acting craft, but the way, how to act while you're acting, how to behave. The old, if you're on time, you're late is true. How to behave on a set, how to be generous on a set. If you're a main player in a series, you walk up to the day players, you greet them, you check in on them, you make them feel like they're a part of the group. Because the truth is, first of all, be a decent person and do it. But even for the sake of the production, the more comfortable a day player feels, the better performance you're going to get, because they feel like an integral part of the team. Greet people, take leadership, be kind, make people feel involved at the lunch table. I don't know how often that's happening now, but I would say take your most generous self when you're on a set. Listen, take notes in a generous way. So many of us, and I've done it, I won't lie to you, so many of us do, oh, but isn't that kind of what I was doing? We've all been there.
Yeah.
Oh, express it. Oh, I thought I was, sorry. No, don't be defensive. Take the notes. Do what you have to do. Be your cog in the wheel. Do your part so beautifully that people are influenced. That's what you should go on set with: kindness, professionalism, shut up, and just do your job. That's what I would say. Don't just think, oh, great, I've landed this part. No, think, oh, great, I've landed this part. Now, what can I do to elevate the experience for everyone? I don't get on there and recite your resume. Do your job. That'll show how great you are. And in the old days, to be honest with you, I was so defensive when I was on an American production. And they'd say, oh, what have you done? Oh, they're trying to show we're worthy, we're worthy. If I'm on an American production now, I speak when spoken to. I don't talk about what my career is. I get why we all did it when we were starting out. But that's my thing. Bring honor and pride to your profession by your conduct as well as your performance. That's my
Great answer.
diatribe.
I think all of that 100%. And just to add, which I think is what you're saying, Deb, in terms of like conduct and being super kind, is always to remember that, you're part of the acting department, and that a set works because it doesn't happen on an island. And, performers often get a lot of the attention on the day, but to remember you're part of this anthill that's working. I always think of set like an anthill, and everyone's doing their job, and when it's really flowing is very exciting, but that all these other departments are also working in tandem with you. And I think and like to take ego out of it. And so just, yeah,
Absolutely.
you said, Deb, and really, I think I was very lucky to be mentored by and have a lot of incredible examples in lead roles when I was a child actor. So I learned from that. But I'll like check out a call sheet and be like, okay, who do I know from that last set I was on? And if you're someone who's lucky enough to be there for the whole run and you're one of the leads, like getting to know people's names, understanding what departments you ask for what, and really respecting, the whole crew, craft, transpo, just really understanding that it's not just
it's not just you. Absolutely. And the day they stopped calling us the performers and started calling us the talent, I wanted to give someone the backhand. We are not the talent. Everyone on that friggin' set is the talent. I hate being called the talent. It drives me crazy. And two more quick examples. I was just on a film shoot in the Sioux, and on my last day, she said, oh, you're wrapped. And I said, well, aren't we in her close up now. Oh yeah, but somebody will do your lines. I went, what? What? I
Yeah.
said, no, I mean, if you want to take me off for the day, because it's low budget feature, it's her second feature, but no. And she said, oh, thank you. And I will say his name. She went, Pat McKenna was the same. He stayed to do his. I said, well, of course he did. She said, it's so generous of you both. I said, no, it's not. It's our
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
And you should be appalled when people aren't staying to do it. And the other thing is what you just said, learn how to read your call sheet. Learn where the camera is.
Mm-hmm.
I was giving close-up performances when I started, when the camera was in Schenectady. Like, learn, give it the full, but don't, Stella, the friggin' master. And I famously told this at an ACTRA meeting, which people still laugh about. Well, Kinley, you were already born. So I was pushing.
Okay.
And I remember someday someone was talking about, do you want the sub? Do you want a sub? I went, I can't eat that in the morning. And they were, oh, it's just like
Right.
I thought subs were submarine sandwiches.
Yes, that's
And
a
I spent the
takeaway.
first 20 years of my career not only saying, no, thank you, I just had my breakfast, but going, excuse me, where'd you get the vegetarian chili? Oh, it's over in the.
They're
Oh,
like, it's the sub, in fact. You're like,
oh God.
what?
So find out that it means substantial. Find out what the window is. Find out. I just didn't know how to read a call sheet. I had no idea.
But
So
this
that's,
is where you come back to leadership, because at some point we were all new, and had people not
Yeah.
been generous with me, I would have been really in the dark. Like, I probably was a deer in headlights when they're like, you're gonna block and here's your mark. No one gives you that tutorial, but I was very lucky to
but they
have.
should.
Oh, yes. And I think if you are in a leadership position, you can offer that where you can to new actors. It's all,
Terms like bananas and things.
yeah, that those.
Watched an actor suffer with that when the director kept saying banana, banana, and then she walked straight forward me. He went banana, and so I walked up to her and I said, "It's just like she."
Yeah, that's so nice you did that.
To this day, I resent the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Do you know how to read a call sheet, being fairly new in the business?
What?
Kinley,
Sorry, who? What?
do you know
What?
how to read a call sheet, being fairly new in the
I-
business?
I do.
Oh, right,
I
because
do.
you went to film school.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Did you have
I'm
advice
sorry,
for-
sound cut out there for a minute. Are you asking me?
Oh, yes, I was going to ask if you had any advice for performers getting started.
Do I have any advice for performers? Well, there's nothing really to add. You guys have been so comprehensive in this.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the handbook myself. That you're going to, right. There's a few things that I could learn about. I have to admit. About performers and let's not talent. I won't call you talent. I won't call you talent, Deb.
You hate that too. Am I alone there?
I don't think anybody's ever accused me of having talent.
Call the talent, whether you like it or not. I hate it.
No, nobody's ever used that term with me.
You're kidding.
No, I don't know. I'm so lost in my own world. I sometimes can't find out what's going on around me. I think that for performers, never say no.
Yes.
Any acting job. Like acting, I mean, we're just practicing our art. And the more practice you get, I think, no matter what it is,
Yeah.
good, bad, indifferent, big stuff, little stuff, theater, charades, I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Do it. Just do it. And because practice is a great thing. And the other thing is, I agree with, it's so much fun being on a set.
Yeah.
And often most of the drama is happening behind the camera.
That's right.
You know, and it's just a wonderful world to watch. All these different
Yeah.
people acting and things like that. And it's great fun to get to know people and get their opinions about things and having them. I mean, that world, it's just a wonderful kind of, and there's many, many things to learn, and we're all doing it together. So actually, it's so much fun to learn what the shot is and how you can probably help or not hinder what we're trying to do. And that we all get together as a kind of team to do this. You have your little window in there of total imaginative make-believe, but and they're not, you know, so you have to guard that little moment, you know, when it is that, you know, I'm going to forget all about you guys. I'm just here with this other character in this fictional world. But it's, yeah, it's great fun being on a set. I adore it. But
Yeah.
as far as acting goes, just any chance you get, do it.
Yeah.
You know, just do it. You know, go ahead and do it. You know, if you can. And I even, you know, all this kind of self-taping and things like that, view it as a kind of, you know, auditions. It's a chance to do a little, you know, you got a chance on it, this, whatever it is, to just try and, you know, have some fun with it, and fun in the sense that I'm going to take this seriously and try and do, you know, what's the character want? Where am I in all this and things like, I mean, often now you get sides that are fake sides because it's also top security. So you, you know, you're trying to motivate something that you can't, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, those are good.
It sounds like you do. That was pretty good.
Yes.
Very good advice.
Yeah,
And yeah, truly after those three answers, I don't think I have anything to add. I think those are all really solid solid pieces of various pieces of advice. And we have one more question. One that was slightly touched on my own experience during the filming, but what was the most rewarding or challenging part of your role in this film?
you answer it first.
Yeah, it was that day. It was well, not the day. It was one scene where I wanted to. I mean, it was in the script, but I also wanted to get to a certain emotional place where I was in tears, and I was just. It's 2020. I think ultimately it turned out all right. The way it was put together. I kind of wish I had just taken the tears. I think I felt like you know, I'm still like.
You're still what, Kinley? Sorry, I lost you.
I hadn't said it yet. I was thinking of the
I thought it
words.
broke up.
I'm still I have a ways to go in terms of experience as an actor, certainly in professional settings, but I think because I felt like I kind of needed to like myself a little. It's like no, I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna make it happen for myself. And like the idea of taking cheers, it was like cheating, which now I is not something I subscribe to, and I've learned from that. So, I mean, not that I've had an opportunity to take tears since, but I would, were they offered to me in another production. But yeah, it was just trying to make an emotion happen rather than allowing that feeling to come naturally and manifest the way that it does, which I did to do, and I'm hoping it came across. I was just very in my head at that point, so I hope that
It did come
that it
across.
worked out okay.
Yeah.
It really, really did. And I'm not just saying that because I'm your director. It was so good.
Thank you,
So
Paul.
good. I mean it. Like, it was so authentic. I just always feel like whatever's the most truthful is the right thing. And I think tears can get stressful when I see it on the page. Something that I felt, I actually never remember that there were tears on the page written when I watched the movie or when we were shooting. I was like, oh, this is just
Right.
authentic and dialed in. And I think that's what I'm always looking for behind the monitor. And it really felt that. And what we used in the cut, just all of it, it was very connected between the two of you. So I think that's why people are very moved when they watch it. So just Trust me.
Thank God. Yeah.
Also got a gift that was just given to you that you did nothing to promote, which is the camera loves your face.
Mm.
That is you, Kinley Mochrie.
Sorry, I didn't know I didn't realize you're talking about. Sorry, you were
Family
talking to Paula.
loves your face. Well, hers too.
Yeah.
But you just, everyone, oh my God, her on camera. Yeah. And that's, believe me, and it's that you have a giant head. That's part of it. And all the big movie stars that look great on camera have giant heads. That's the truth.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Also, I think that it's hard to know sometimes. You know, we're, as actors, you know, it's our estimation of our own performance can be, it has to be, you have to be careful of it in a way.
Mm.
You have to take it with a
Mhm.
grain of salt because you're
point.
inside it. And really, the performance is being watched outside of yourself. So it's, it seems both in theater and film that you have to kind of translate your own feeling, or you have to translate what's being said about your performance, what's being seen, put it that way, and try and kind of marry that to what
Mm.
you think is being seen, or how you are inside. So it's often, I mean, I have a hell of a time watching myself do something.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, it's like, because somehow I've had a different idea about it. I've been inside it, and so it's a kind of a shock at first to see, because it's
Yeah.
so entirely different than what you kind of imagined it was that you were doing. And
Yeah.
I think it's important to not to go, okay, but that has been my imagining. How it's going in the inside is the one to keep, not to go over to this other side and go, well, I'm going to watch everything. That's the trouble with doing these self tapes. You can go, oh God, I could do it better. You know, I've got to the point now, I put down one good tape on it, and then I'm going to send it in. I'm not going to fart around with it anymore, because you get lost in this other thing that's not, you know, it's the director's job. It's the audience's job. They're watching and what's coming across. So I think it's important to, and I mean, I've had, you know, especially in theater, you go, I was magnificent today. And so, and the director has been there and going, what the hell were you doing out there? And then you've got the other ones where you go, I'm just not on it today. I'm just doing my shopping list out there. And they're going, you were magnificent. You were
Yeah.
magnificent out there. You go, I don't know what the hell's going on then, because, you know,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's a bit mysterious, and it's a bit mysterious, the whole business, basically.
Yeah, it's interesting. But what about everyone else? What were your most rewarding or challenging parts of your role in the film?
For me, the most challenging on paper is a small role. But for me, the rewarding part was born of, I really went to a method place in this one, to a point where even at the dining room table when you're feeding, to those moments of watching that happen and think, how do I fix that? And when Eric as Junior was eating the ice cream, I know that was in a different place in reality,
Yeah.
in the hospital. I just went to a place in my head looking at Eric. And the beauty is I never had to replace my dad with Eric, because Eric was, you were so great in it that I never had to picture my dad. I was at you as my dad. And that moment of eating the ice cream was so painful and so terrifying. But I also did what I always did: don't frighten him, don't show the emotion. So what I was happy about was all that I felt. And I know my voice cracked and I know I cried, but I was really trying not to. I was happy to see the performance from a standpoint, it was exactly as I pictured. I, like Eric, also don't like watching myself. When I have to do a reel, it's like, oh gosh. But I felt that I captured what I imagined, which was, don't let him know all the feels you're feeling. That was my goal. Don't ever let Junior know how painful this is. And so, like those glances at the table of, oh, this character took me to and me just glancing at her. Didn't want him to be frightened seeing. So in the end, even though it was a small part, a supporting part, I felt like I had accomplished what I set out to do with her, and to be very still and very just there, because at that moment where my heart is broken for my daughter, but it's also terrified because I know my dad's going into the last stages. That was one of the most satisfying scenes I've ever played, is splitting that focus between my pain for her and my pain for him, but knowing that she's still going to be here and he's not. So
yeah,
Papa just
all my
ate ice cream.
background work.
That was one of my favorite moments too. Beautiful.
Yeah, with the, because I remember, so I could have literally fallen on the ground and buckets in the moment where Eric says, oh, I'm done. Oh, it's okay, Dad. That's okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I thought, Jesus Christ, I'm just going to die. But I also knew somewhere the editor in my brain was going, not appropriate for you to lose it in this scene. So keep it in. And it gave me the shaky voice. Believe me, I wasn't trying. I couldn't stop it. But I thought, no, she just got to, at that moment, she realizes I'm losing him. And so keeping it together for his sake ultimately helped me keep it together for what I think the performance should have been.
And that is definitely my favorite line delivery from you in the movie. That part just, it's so real. It's so true and honest.
It was terrible. That first time he did that was what's happening here.
Yeah.
Okay. And God love him, being the man he was, lifting it, licking the spoon and going, well, that was good.
Yeah.
And I thought, and that's why I said to you at the hospital, Papa just ate ice cream. It was terribly painful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I thought, would I rather he be screaming, I'm being attacked, but yeah, it's watching such an intelligent, engaged, well-read, beautiful vocabulary, licking an invisible spoon. It's painful. And it breaks your heart that they're the greatest generation who suffered so much, and medical science is keeping them alive, but they're all getting dementia. And it just seems such an unfair end of life for them, who dealt with the wars and the bread lines and the recession, the depression, and it just seems so. And COVID, of course, increased dementia in nursing homes by 38% because of the isolation. So now in my mom's, they say 92% of the people in there have some form of dementia or Alzheimer's. 92%. It's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. This is a wonderful conversation, but we do need to wrap up soon. But I wanted to make sure, Eric and Paula, for you, what were the most rewarding or challenging parts of your role in the film?
Oh, waiting for lunch.
Rewarding or challenging?
Both. I don't know. It's so hard. I don't think my mind works in rewarding or challenging kind of equations in the thing. It was terribly rewarding to do it. I mean, I had a great time shooting the 2 days we shot.
Yeah.
That's all I can expect. I had I was comfortable. I I felt in good hands. Yeah, I felt, and I felt that I was able to do, I was able to have my little moments where I thought, yeah, I wasn't impeded in what I was trying to do here in these, as I go back to these little moments when you're working with this big machine, that is just purely this imaginative little bubble that you get to do in some part of a take, and make that little space for yourself and to have it. I felt that. Yeah, and Deb mentioned it. I just love being on Canadian sets.
Yeah.
I just feel at ease, and I have so much fun. I'm so proud of us all, because it's such a difficult thing to do, and it's such a wonderful aspect of human behavior that they're trying to do something funny and beautiful, as opposed to something awful and cruel.
Right. Yes.
Which, if you read the news, that's pretty well all it is. And it's just, I'm so proud that I'm part of it. And yeah, so I'm sorry I can't answer the question about what was
That's a good answer.
I think it's a great answer.
But usually that's a lot of my time. Yeah, often you go for months and months and months, you go for months and no work. Then you finally get a job. You're on the job. The first question you ask, when am I wrapped?
Yeah, exactly.
It's so, yeah. Anyway, I'm just saying that because it's a big day when you're shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Paula, what about you?
I'm so sorry I had to keep my fire alarm's going off. So if I duck out again, it's because I'm turning the thing off. Anyways, it should be
that's
okay.
irritating.
Is there a
We'll
fire?
cut this out, but
leaving?
frankly, the concierge just panicked and out of breath. So I am just a little concerned, but I'll keep you abreast. I'm feeling good and no smoke, but
Okay.
to duck up. But I was listening to all of that, and also in your case, Eric, you were wrapped in 48 hours. So if you weren't having, we shot it so fast that it was over.
I was totally satisfied with that.
I was totally satisfied.
Good.
Quickly.
My job done. I'm going to have a nap now.
I think that was one of the challenges, but also part of what I found really rewarding was seeing everybody come together like that. I think I was very lucky to have so many crew members that I admire so much come out for this. That was just, it's pretty unbelievable to see so many people that you worked with, trusting us and coming to the table. And so you really are only as good as your team. And that was incredibly rewarding to do this in 2 days because of the team we'd assembled. I'm so grateful. And then I think, even the word challenges, it's like, I guess I always feel like filmmaking is about problem solving and always pivoting. And so I felt so supported all the time. Deb and I, you and I, Deb, spoke about like the nuance of the work and how we would miss that in the end as we were wrapping up post-production, because it was late night voice notes. It was wondering how long a title card should be up. All of those things felt really exciting.
Yeah.
That detail work was really rewarding, and it all felt very meaningful. And I created, in this iteration, my brother scored it for us. And I think we talked early on about the score being an extension of Junior. And even doing something like that, I found part of the challenge was just also trusting myself and going, I think we want to take a very big swing with the score in the audition scene. And is that okay? And like, is that right? And my brother's like, there is no right. Eric's so amazing. You can do no wrong. And this is like your spin and our spin on Deb's script. And that really freed me. Like, I know it's near the end of the process, but going, there's kind of no right way. And I was so nervous hitting send on that bit of score to show you, Deb, and you showed it to Kinley, and that it affected both of you meant a lot. So just every step was really exciting to be working with people I really love and admire, and then seeing it affect audiences too. That recent screening that we were at that you mentioned, Deb, where so many caregivers were in that audience, how it was comforting and affecting. I mean, that you can't really ask for anything more when you're working on something. So very, very grateful.
Yeah.
Well, excellent.
I'm back again. I've been listening in to this absolutely fantastic and inspiring interview, and it's very clear that none of you like each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn it, eh?
Oh my
Damn it.
gosh.
What you
I
have to put up with.
I know, but I really cannot thank you all enough. I think for the advice that you have offered new actors and actors like myself who've been doing this for a long time to rehear the advice that you have, the offers that you have given, just so on point and generous. I think generous is the word. And also to speak about a project that is just so so special, so private, so intimate. And again, generosity is the word that I come up with. So folks, I'm so glad that you could spend some time with us and share your experience with the members here at ACTRA. I'm going to say thank you again to Kinley Mochrie for moderating, and Paula Brancati, whose house hopefully is not on fire, and for Eric, who is not hiding behind the refrigerator. Deb, I just love you. You know that. Thank you for all that you do. And I'm also going to say a shout out to Jennifer McGibbon and to Cass Enright, our staff members
Way to
who
go, you guys.
make
And
this
thank
possible.
you, Joy.
So
Thank you
much.
for thinking of having us.
Oh my
Thank you
gosh.
very much for having
Wow.
us.
You know what? It's like the dinner party where, you know, we don't actually get to have dinner together, but I'm hoping that will happen sometime soon. So in any case, thank you again for joining us. Would love to hear your comments in the description box. If we actually have a description box, I should know this. Anyway, this is the editor, and peace out to you all. Thanks a lot, folks.
Thanks, everyone.
Take
Great
care.
advice.